Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back, man. Listen, all right. So I figured I would bring you some adventures from Twitter today, right? Because I'll be honest with you, I had to argue with the internet company about a bill, right? I was like, yo, look, man, I haven't had internet in like 6 months. You know what I mean? From y'all, like, I went and got a Wi-Fi hotspot, right? And I've been paying $100 a month for that bitch because like I figured y'all had cut me off, and they sent me a bill for like $900 from a company I had never even heard of because apparently they bought CenturyLink. Oh. Now I was like, yeah, I ain't had internet in like 6 months, so we're not gonna do this, right? You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. But while I was sitting here talking to like the technicians online doing a thing, right? I was on Twitter hanging out, right? And I like this fuck you, I quit person on Twitter. They're pretty cool, right? You know what I mean? Kind of lefty, but you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty pro labor type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a super duper pro labor individual, right? And so like he put up this you know what I mean, this graph that I've used in like 1,000 of my videos, right? You know what I mean? Like we've stood here and like looked at this, right? Now, part of this, of course, is, you know what I mean, like computers and things of this nature. But a lot of this has to do with outsourcing, immigration, like a bunch of other policies in the end of the day, right? You know what I mean? Because like physical things affect how stuff works, right? So as you had a movement of people from the rural areas to urban areas, you end up having more labor. And then as you also have massive amounts of immigration coming into America, you know what I mean, you end up having, you know what I mean, like problems with the labor pool. So I put up some graphs, right? I said, I'm just saying there's a reason for this, right? And apparently I'm a racist, right? Apparently I'm a fucking racist because of this. Right, and they go, look, immigration stayed stagnant because of this dip right here, you know what I mean, in the 1950s, right? Which, by the way, that was the best time to be an American in the labor market, right? I just want to put that out there, you know. And then it climbed back up. It went from, you know what I'm saying, like less than 5%, you know what I mean, to like 11%, right? You know what I mean? And like in the end of the day, right, you know what I mean, like, actually, you know what I mean? Like, it went from less than 5% to like 12%, right? And they go, well, look at all this giant amount of labor on the left-hand side, right? And I'm like, well, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, yo, look, it's remained stagnant. It's not stagnant. It dropped and then went back up, right? And look at the number of immigrants, you know what I'm saying? It went from, you know what I mean, like 10 million, right, in the 1960s, right, to 45 million, right? Just saying, right? So, and then I put up like this here as well, you know what I mean? Highly important. And so this is like, and then like fucking these people come on, right? and like they sit here and like they're trying to defend like shit because they assume that everybody that mentions immigration is racist, right? At the end of the day. And it's not about racism. It's about the fact that like, yo, I understand how like supply and demand works, right? Supply and demand is a very basic ass thing, right? At the end of the day, right? Like, yo, like, so, if you have more supply, right, you know what I mean, the price of said thing goes down because like, like it doesn't cost as much because like it has like a whole bunch of them on the market. It's just how it works, right? You know what I mean? When you have less of a supply, like the price of it goes up because there's more of a demand, right? You know what I mean? Demand stays constant, right? Actually, in an economy when the GDP is going up in production, you know what I mean, the need for like workers are heading upwards. You know what I mean? Like, like demand should be, you know what I mean, like kind of infinite at that point. And so therefore, you know what I mean, the amount of people that you put in, you know what I mean, like the prices of labor shouldn't drop. But the prices of labor have dropped, you know what I mean, for like the bottom, 20%. And, they've gained like 3% over, you know what I mean, like, I don't know, 30 or 40 years, right? From like 1978 until 2018, you know what I mean, last time I saw like any charts on this measurement, right? It actually went from, it actually went up about 3% over that entire time, which is the square root of dick, right? Like this is the fucking problem in the end of the day, right? Is that like literally like I talk to economists, I study economists, I study economics, right? In the end of the day, and like these fucking people, like they don't understand basic economics. Is like, when you increase the amount of labor in a fucking area, you end up having a massive amount of fucking like price drop in the cost of like labor, right? It's that simple. right? It's not about like, oh, you xenophobe, oh, you're a fucking racist. I'm not a fucking racist, like you dumb pieces of shit, right? Like I like Puerto Ricans, I like Mexicans, I like motherfuckers. Like in general, I love fucking having other foods to eat. It's amazing. But the problem is like literally when you add these people to the fucking labor pool and they're unskilled labor, what they're doing is they're coming in and fucking up jobs for the bottom, which forces everybody to go upward, which ends up dropping the price of all these fucking jobs above there, right? It's a giant fucking food chain at the end of the day. Right, so like, but I just wanted to show you, you know what I mean? Like, these charts of the immigration remain pretty standard. Like, what are you reading? It went from 5% to 15%. Yeah, but this ain't it, right? You know what I mean? Yes, it is. In outsourcing, they broke the unions with free trade and immigration, right? Percentage of fucking immigrants, and actually, I think somebody replied to this one here too, right? Like, show replies on this one here, which this is what unions are stronger now than they've been in 40 years, and immigrants have always played a huge role. Mm-hmm. 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 Somebody want to explain this to these blue checks? You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, I'm a pro union guy. Like, and I agree. Money printer goes burr. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, and this is the percentage of immigrants is lower than it was in the 1800s. Of course it is. We were fucking industrializing at that point, right? Like, we had to build skyscrapers and like all types of giant ass fucking things. We were literally building an economy that didn't exist. And now what are we doing? Are we building things? When's the last time something got built? Name one big thing that's gotten built in the past 20 years. What, the Freedom Tower? What? Name one thing in America. One. I'll wait. Like, I agree that this is an issue, right? You know what I mean? Like, the CEOs, you know what I mean? Like, are a bit of a problem, right? I got you. Like, they make a lot of fucking money. Like, 100%. They make a lot of fucking money. But, like, let me keep this 100% honest, all right? Like, it's not the fact that the CEOs are making more money, because like as a percentage of like the entirety of the pie, they're making the same amount as they've always made, right? The problem is just we're making less money and there's more of us. So like the mean ends up, you know what I mean, to the point of where like we're getting the square root of shit, right? And they're getting a lot. That's the problem, right? They're maintaining their percentage. Our percentage went down is the issue, right? You have to understand there was a 12-point swing, right? Like back in the day, we used to get a 60-40 cut of the motherfucking like the entire GDP, right? When it came down to it, right? So like 60% went to, you know what I mean, workers, 40% went to, you know what I mean, like fucking companies. Today, it's the other way. It's 40% come to us, 60% go to the fucking company, right? And this is a problem, right? Because of the fact that 40%, right, of like the amount is now like, because like a top 1% still saves like 1%, right? So they're getting 60%, right? Of like 1% is getting 60%, right? And then like the bottom 99% is getting 40%. So literally it's just spread out because there's way more of us. Back in the 90s, right, there was only like 200 million people in America. Today there's 350 million, right? So once you take down and have less of a fucking percentage as a whole, right? In math, I should have probably had some graphs lined up for this, but I'll be honest with you, I don't care. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't fucking care, right? Well, I do care, right? I really do, right? But the problem is like once you have once you end up having like that giant piece of the pie at the bottom, the 40%, and then the like fucking piece of the pie is getting smaller, and there's more of us. That means the money has to be spread out across all of us, so we all get less, and then we're all chasing the same amount of motherfucking housing as there was in like the 1980s. This is the fucking problem. And we're not building new housing at the moment. The reason why we're not doing it right now at this second is because of the fact that everybody's waiting on the boomers to die. Because once they die, there's going to be a flood of houses on the market. We built a whole bunch of houses that fucking housing crash. The more houses we build right now, like, the worse the fucking housing crash is going to be. That's a problem. These are all things that none of us are discussing in the end of the day. Like, we're not having this conversation. Right. And we don't want to talk about, but like immigrants. Yeah. Like, legitimately, they're like, they fucked the shit out of us over the past 30 years using immigrants. Right. Because they can bring in, even if it's legal immigration, they can bring them in on a visa. What they do is they bring them in on a visa. Right. And when they bring them in on a visa, if they go, we want more money, or they try to unionize, they just cancel their fucking visa and send them on their fucking way. This is how they broke the fucking unions. And it's not a racist thing. It's not. It's just, this is how shit works. Reality. Stop fucking standing here like defending their bullshit fucking practice. Like real shit. You want more money, there needs to be like less of us. And I'm not saying like you need to go through and like, start building fucking showers and, fucking ovens and whatnot. I'm not saying that. Right? But what I'm saying is that like letting more people in is not helping you get more pay. Keeping this 100% honest. You want to see more? You want to see more? Look. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you just sit here and just look at like all of these goddamn replies. You know how it works, man. Legit. Sometimes I have to go through and break the motherfucking immigrants, break the goddamn internet every once in a while. Look at this is the problem, right? You know what I mean? This is the goddamn problem. You know what I mean? So you're a racist. Offensive stuff, right? Get your racist shit out of here. Damn, you dumb as fuck, right? And like, I don't mind like arguing with a motherfucker. Like, I have no problem arguing. Most of these motherfuckers don't want to actually argue, right? What they want to do is they want to just go like, oh, well, it's just a corporation's fault and they should give us more money. I agree they should give us more money, right? But we have to make them give us more money. We got to unionize. We got to stand here and like negotiate for that type of shit. You have to stop working and tell them like, eat a dick. You're going to pay me more. Right? And then you got to tell the government, you're not getting your fucking cut. Eat a dick. You're not taking my tax money because you've been fucking me for 30 years. But we all need to speak one language in order to do this. Because the Spanish folks is not down for that shit. Because all those fucking people, they find out, if they're here and they're here illegally, they'll send them on their fucking way. Fox News and CNN, like, everybody will fucking get together and scream about the fucking internet. Scream about the fucking immigrants and shit. I feel like my fucking hairline looks terrible in this video. But yo, look, man, I'm Tom Pease of Pnoid News. Y'all know the deal, man. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to get the fuck up out of here. I'm out.